Before the Beatles rocked packed stadiums or Elvis swiveled, there was one man who stole hearts just by opening his mouth: Frank Sinatra. With such a smooth voice, he literally made girls scream and faint. Sinatra sparked the first wave of true celebrity madness in the 1940s, and they even gave it a name: Sinatra Mania. But beyond the flashing lights and screaming fans, Sinatra was a husband and a dad. He had 3 kids: Nancy Sinatra, Frank Jr., and Christina Sinatra. So where are they now? Did they follow in his footsteps or struggle under the weight of his fame? Let's dive into their stories. But before that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support our channel. Number 3. Nancy Sinatra. Born on June 8, 1940 in Jersey City, New Jersey, Nancy Sinatra was the first child of music icon Frank Sinatra and his wife Nancy Barbato. Growing up with such a big star as her dad meant her childhood was far from normal. She lived her life surrounded by cameras, fans, and the spotlight. Nancy's parents divorced when she was only 11 years old. In addition to the breakup with her family, she was going through a difficult time because everyone was watching. Being the oldest child, Nancy felt it the most. Still, she stayed close to both her mom and dad, even though the experience taught her some serious life lessons. After the divorce, the family moved to California. Nancy started taking lessons in music, dance, acting, and piano. She wasn't just doing it for fun, she was getting ready for a career in Hollywood. At 17, she made her first appearance on TV in The Frank Sinatra Show. It was a small role, but it was her official start. Later on, Nancy also joined UCLA for college, but left early to focus on her music career. She signed with her father's label, Reprise Records, in 1961. However, despite having her father's name behind her, she still had difficulties. The label nearly dropped her after her first few songs didn't do well. That's when producer Lee Hazelwood stepped in. He helped Nancy find a deeper, stronger singing voice and gave her a cool, confident style that matched the vibe of the 1960s. In 1966, everything changed. Nancy released These Boots Are Made for Walkin', and it was a massive hit. The song shot to #1 in both the US and the UK, and Nancy became a star in her own right. After that, she had more hit songs like Sugartown, How Does That Grab You, Darlin', and Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down, which became popular again years later when it was used in the movie Bill. She also sang the theme song for the James Bond film You Only Live Twice in 1967. That same year, Nancy made history with her dad. Together, they performed Something Stupid, which became the first and only father-daughter duet to reach the top of the Billboard charts. Nancy was an actress as well as a musician. She co-starred with Peter Fonda in The Wild Angels and with Elvis Presley in Speedway. She even created the Emmy-winning TV special Movin' with Nancy. Nancy made the decision to concentrate on her personal life in the 1970s. In 1970, she wed Hugh Lambert, a dancer and choreographer. Together, they had 2 daughters. Nancy left the spotlight to raise her family. Sadly, Hugh died of cancer in 1985. Nancy claimed that he was the love of her life and that she never got married again. In the 1990s, Nancy made a comeback to the public eye. She wrote books about her father, put out new music, and even made an appearance in Playboy at the age of 54, demonstrating her style and confidence. A whole new generation began listening to her music after her older songs were reissued. In addition to being Frank Sinatra's daughter, Nancy Sinatra is now recognized as a powerful and gifted artist who left her mark. She demonstrated to the world that she was brave, fearless, and completely unique through her go-go boots and her hit songs. Number 2. Frank Jr. Frank Sinatra Jr., the second child and only son of Frank Sinatra and Nancy Barbato, was born on January 10, 1944. Just like his sisters, Frank Jr. grew up surrounded by music, but instead of running away from his dad's huge fame, he leaned into it. From a young age, he had aspirations of becoming a serious musician as well as a star. Frank Jr. put a lot of effort into learning music correctly as a teenager. In addition to learning how to conduct an orchestra, he studied how to compose and arrange music. He didn't want to take shortcuts because of his famous last name. He wanted to earn his place. In his early 20s, he sang with big bands and worked behind the scenes as a music director. He had real talent and was willing to put in the effort. But in 1963, something terrifying happened. When Frank Jr. was only 19, he was abducted from a Lake Tahoe hotel. His father was demanded to pay $240,000 by the kidnappers. Fortunately, Frank Sr. made the payment, and his son was discovered unharmed a few days later. All three kidnappers were caught and sent to prison. The whole country followed the story, and it made it even harder for Frank Jr. to step out of his dad's shadow. Nevertheless, he continued. Frank Jr. recorded songs, made TV appearances, and played in nightclubs all over the United States in the late 1960s and early 1970s. He developed a strong career despite never achieving his father's level of fame. His smooth voice, vintage singing style, and commitment to the art earned him respect from the public. Then, in the late 1980s, Frank Jr. assumed a very special role. He was appointed conductor and musical director for his father. He led the orchestra and contributed to the perfection of every performance for almost a decade while standing on stage next to Frank Sinatra. It was a proud and touching time. He wasn't just the son of a legend, he was helping that legend finish his career with style and grace. After Frank Sinatra Sr. passed away in 1998, Frank Jr. continued honoring his father's legacy. He created a show called Sinatra Sings Sinatra, in which he sang his father's songs while narrating personal tales and displaying old family photos. It was a sincere homage from a son to his father, not merely amusement. Frank Jr. did not discuss his private life. Although he never married, he did have a son named Michael from a brief affair. He was regarded as quiet, introspective, and genuinely committed to music off stage. Unfortunately, on March 16, 2016, while on tour in Daytona Beach, Florida, Frank Sinatra Jr. passed away from a heart attack. His age was 72. His sister shared the news, and fans around the world were shocked and saddened. He didn't live in the spotlight like his father, but he worked hard, stayed true to his passion, and left behind a legacy of his own. Number 3. Christina Sinatra. Christina Sinatra, known to most people as Tina Sinatra, was born on June 20, 1948 in Los Angeles, California. She was the youngest of Frank Sinatra and Nancy Barbato's 3 children. Unlike her older siblings, Nancy and Frank Jr., who grew up during their parents' marriage, Tina was born just a few years before her parents split. So things were a bit different for her growing up, more complicated and a little quieter. While Nancy and Frank Jr. followed their father into music and the spotlight, Tina chose a different path. She didn't dream of singing on stage or performing in front of crowds. Rather, she was more interested in the making of films, the telling of stories, and the inner workings of the entertainment industry. Tina attended Los Angeles' University High School and briefly attempted acting in the late 1960s. She had a few small roles on screen, but quickly realized that acting wasn't really her thing. She was more comfortable working behind the camera, helping to create and shape stories. In the early 1970s, she moved into producing and development. Tina put a lot of effort into her career and took it seriously, even though having the Sinatra name helped open doors. She co-produced a number of TV shows and gradually established herself as a talented and intelligent producer in her own right. One of her biggest career moments came in 1992 when she worked as the executive producer of the TV miniseries Sinatra, which told the story of her father's life. The 4-hour special aired on CBS and was both a success with viewers and praised by critics. Tina was actively involved in every stage of the production, ensuring that the show accurately depicted her father's true self, including his hardships and humanity in addition to his achievements. It was her method of paying tribute to him as a father and a legend, not just a show. In 2000, Tina shared even more of her personal story by writing a book called My Father's Daughter. In it, she gave fans a close, honest look at what it was like growing up as Frank Sinatra's child. She talked about the good times, but also the difficult ones. People loved the book for its warmth and honesty, and it helped them see a more personal side of the man behind the fame. Over the years, Tina has stayed busy protecting and promoting her father's legacy. She helped manage his estate, played a key role in releasing his old music, worked on tribute albums and documentaries, and even appeared at events to talk about his life and work. Thanks to her efforts, many young people today still discover Frank Sinatra and fall in love with his music. Tina Sinatra never got married and doesn't have any children. She's always preferred to keep her life private, staying away from the spotlight. But even without chasing fame, she's made a big impact. Her quiet work behind the scenes has played a huge role in keeping her father's memory alive and showing the world who Frank Sinatra really was. Not just a music legend, but a father, a man, and a part of American history. Tina and her siblings had their own way of living. They weren't defined by their father's fame. It didn't hinder them or bring them success. They never used nepotism. Rather, they gained their position via skill, diligence, and enthusiasm. Because of this, the world is familiar with their names, not as obscure personalities concealed behind a well-known last name, but as unique individuals who have left their mark. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.